When you enter a room filled with people, there is often the silence within you that few understand. You do not rush into conversations. You do not flood the air with words, and yet you feel every vibration, every shifting glance, every hidden meaning behind the smiles and gestures of others. This is not a weakness. It is not shyness. It is the deep sensitivity of an intuitive introvert, and it carries with it both a gift and a curse. I have long warned that the intuitive introvert is among the most vulnerable archetypes in our modern world, for you live not only in the daylight of the conscious, but also in the shadowlands of the unconscious, where archetypes speak, where dreams unravel, where the mysteries of life breathe their strange and fearful truths. You must understand, introversion, in its purest sense, is not simply social withdrawal. It is a direction of energy, a turning inward toward the wellspring of the psyche. But when intuition is added to this inward turn, a double doorway opens. You become attuned to patterns unseen, to the symbolic structure beneath events, to the threads of destiny that others pass by without recognition, and yet this heightened awareness isolates you. It draws you into a landscape where your very perception makes you different, estranged, sometimes even haunted. The world around you thrives on the visible, the measurable, the shared illusions of the collective, but you live among invisible truths, among whispers that rise from within. This dual existence is where the danger lies, for while the extroverted world may dismiss or mock what you sense, you are left to wrestle with realities that few will validate. In your solitude, visions emerge, dreams that repeat with symbols you can scarcely comprehend, sensations of other people's emotions pressing upon your chest, premonitions that unsettle your nights. You may begin to wonder if you are broken, if you are too fragile for the demands of ordinary life. But what if I tell you that this fragility is only apparent, that it conceals a dark strength waiting to be integrated? The unconscious is not gentle. It does not caress. It demands. It shows the introvert images of what is repressed by the collective, and for the intuitive among you, these images are charged with significance. A crow appearing in your dream is not simply a bird. It is the messenger of shadow, of endings and beginnings. A child in distress within your vision is not merely a dream child, it is your own neglected innocence, crying out from the depths. The intuitive introvert cannot escape such encounters. You are forced to look, to feel, to endure what others would bury beneath noise and distraction. And in this confrontation lies the peril, for without guidance, without the courage to integrate what you perceive, the unconscious can consume you. I have seen many who, unable to bear the weight of their intuition, withdraw so completely that they become prisoners of their own mind. They live in fantasies, in endless speculations, disconnected from the grounding of life. Others project their inner darkness onto the outer world, convinced of conspiracies, haunted by suspicions, tormented by mistrust. This is the shadow's revenge. When it is not faced, the more you deny what you see within, the more it distorts what you see without. And yet, there is also greatness hidden here. The intuitive introvert, once awakened to their gift, can become a mediator between the conscious and the unconscious, a bridge between the known and the unknown. Your sensitivity is not weakness, it is perception refined to the point of revelation. But you must heed the warning if you allow society to shame you into denying your intuition. If you drown your sensitivity in distractions, if you allow fear to silence your visions, then your very gift becomes your downfall. The unconscious does not tolerate neglect. What you ignore within will rise against you, appearing in dreams as terror, in relationships as projection, in your body as illness. Consider the archetype of the prophet in ancient cultures. Rarely were they celebrated in their own time. Often they were mocked, rejected, even persecuted. Why? Because they saw what others did not wish to see. They embodied the burden of intuitive introversion. Their warning was not welcome, but it was necessary. You, too, carry within you a prophetic seed, not in the sense of foretelling trivial events, but in sensing the deep direction of the soul, yours and others. The question is whether you will accept this burden or collapse under it. Let me tell you of a patient I once knew, a woman whose dreams were filled with water, always water, sometimes a dark ocean, sometimes a flooding river, sometimes a still lake reflecting a strange moon. She thought she was losing her mind because the dreams grew more vivid each week. Yet when we explored them together, we discovered that the water was the image of her unconscious, rising to meet her, demanding attention. She had neglected her creative calling, living instead in a rigid, rational world where her imagination was dismissed. The dreams were not madness, they were summons, but had she ignored them, they might have become destructive, pulling her into depression, even into psychosis. The warning was dark, but the message was saving. She had to honor the inner waters. So it is with you. The darkness you fear is not against you, it is for you, if you have the courage to face it. But facing it does not mean indulging in endless fantasy, nor does it mean withdrawing into despair. It means dialogue. It means learning to listen without being swallowed, to interpret without being possessed. The dream is not the tyrant, it is the guide. The shadow is not the enemy, it is the teacher. The archetype is not the master, it is the mirror. Intuitive introverts are drawn to symbols, for symbols are the language of the unconscious. You may find yourself fascinated by myth, by religious imagery, by the strange recurrence of numbers, by the secret correspondences between inner and outer events. This fascination is not trivial. It is the psyche's attempt to speak in a form you can receive. But beware, symbols can seduce, they can become obsessions, traps of interpretation that pull you deeper into illusion. The key is not to idolize the symbol, but to integrate its meaning. When the snake appears in your dream, do not become obsessed with snakes. Ask what transformation, what death and rebirth is being shown to me. When the stranger appears at your door in vision, do not seek him in the street. Ask what unrecognized part of myself is knocking for entrance. I must speak plainly. The world is not kind to the intuitive introvert. The collective despises what it does not understand, and it fears what it cannot control. Your very sensitivity, your ability to sense undercurrents, will unsettle others. They will call you too intense, too strange, too withdrawn, and if you internalize their judgment, you will begin to doubt yourself, to mutilate your own perception in order to fit the collective mold. This is the greatest danger of all self-betrayal. For once you abandon your gift, you are left with nothing but emptiness, a hollow shell repeating the words and desires of others while your own soul weeps unheard. But I am here to tell you, do not betray yourself. There is a dark warning in my words, yes, but also a call to courage. You are meant to carry a lamp into the cave of the unconscious, not to extinguish it for the comfort of those who fear the dark. Your introversion is your path inward. Your intuition is your compass in the night. Together, they make you a traveler in regions most will never dare to enter. And if you survive the journey, if you integrate what you discover, you will return, not broken but whole, not isolated, but deeply connected, not fragile but unshakably strong. This is only the beginning of what I must share with you. Already, perhaps, you feel a stirring in your heart, a recognition that I am speaking to something you have known but never fully articulated. That recognition is not coincidence, it is your unconscious nodding in agreement, whispering, yes, this is for you. When the intuitive introvert wanders into the world of others, it often feels like entering a masquerade. Everywhere, people wear masks, personas polished by society's expectations, identities constructed to shield them from their own shadows. You see, through these masks, you sense the tremors beneath the surface, the quiet despair hidden behind laughter, the envy veiled in politeness, the rage concealed in smiles. This ability to perceive what is not spoken makes you uneasy, for it isolates you, but it also makes you indispensable, for you are among the few who still perceive the truth that breathes beneath appearances. Yet you must heed this. To live constantly in the perception of masks without remembering your own is to risk dissolution. Every introvert carries the danger of over-identification with the inner world, of sinking too deeply into the well of the unconscious. For the intuitive, this danger is magnified. Your visions can intoxicate you, your insights can seduce you, your awareness can fracture you. I have seen patients who, recognizing the falsity of the outer world, retreated so far into their inner landscapes that they became lost in labyrinths of symbols, unable to function in daily life. They forgot that the mask, though false, also serves a purpose. The persona is not merely a lie, it is a necessary interface with the collective. Without it, you become a raw nerve, exposed to the winds of the world. And the winds will tear you apart. The dark warning is this: do not abandon the persona entirely. Even as you see through it, to reject all masks is to invite the world's cruelty without protection. To embrace only the mask is to suffocate your soul. The art of the intuitive introvert is balance, knowing when to wear the mask for survival and when to remove it for truth. It is a rhythm, a dance, not a final decision. You will notice, if you look carefully, that your sensitivity often attracts those who unconsciously seek to offload their own shadows. People are drawn to you because they feel you understand them, even when you have said little. They confide in you, they unburden themselves, and you feel their weight entering your body. their sorrows pressing into your heart. This is not mere empathy, it is the porousness of your boundaries. You become a vessel, willingly or unwillingly, for the unconscious of others. And here lies another danger. If you do not learn to recognize what belongs to you and what belongs to others, you will drown beneath their projections. This is why solitude is not optional for you. It is not a luxury. It is medicine. You must retreat often to discern your own voice from the chorus of others. In silence, you recalibrate. In solitude, you sift through the emotions that cling to you, releasing what is not yours, integrating what is. Without solitude, you will confuse yourself for others, mistaking their wounds for your own, their shadows for your essence. And once that confusion sets in, you will lose the thread of your own destiny. Dreams will be your companions on this journey. The intuitive introvert is often given dreams of striking clarity, dreams that unfold like dramas upon the inner stage. These dreams are not random, they are messages, compensations, warnings, and revelations. A recurring dream of falling may signal your lack of grounding. A dream of wandering endless corridors may reveal your hesitation to face the central truth. A dream of a beast lurking in the shadows may indicate a repressed instinct demanding recognition. You must not dismiss these dreams as mere fantasies. They are your teachers. The unconscious does not waste its language on trifles. It speaks with necessity, but do not fall into the trap of overinterpretation. To dissect every dream with sterile analysis is to kill its spirit. Dreams are alive. They must be approached with reverence, as one would approach a sacred text. Ask them questions. Allow their images to work upon you. Live with them as companions rather than specimens. In this way, you cultivate dialogue with your unconscious rather than tyranny over it. The archetype of the hermit illustrates much of your path, cloaked in shadow, holding a lantern, walking the lonely path into the wilderness. This is the image of the intuitive introvert. But remember, the lantern is not only for your steps, it is also for those who come after you, those who wander without direction. Your solitude, your insight, your burden are not only for yourself, they are a gift to the collective, though the collective may never acknowledge it. You walk ahead, carrying light into regions where others fear to tread. But here again lies the paradox. If you allow yourself to become too enraptured by the lantern, if you mistake your role as solitary light bearer for an identity of superiority, the flame will consume you. Pride is the most subtle shadow of the intuitive. Beware of believing that your perception makes you above others. It does not. It makes you responsible. The world will test you. You will be misunderstood. You will be judged as aloof, strange, detached. Some will envy your insight. Others will resent your silence. And in the face of such misunderstanding, you may be tempted to renounce your nature, to force yourself into extroversion, to adopt the rhythms of those who do not feel as deeply. Do not do this. It is a betrayal that will corrode you from within. But also do not despise those who cannot see as you do. They are not blind by malice. They are blind by necessity. Not all are called to the same depth. To demand of others what only you can carry is cruelty. To resent them for what they cannot give is arrogance. The true path is compassion, understanding that your gift is not universal. And it need not be. I must tell you of another patient, a young man tormented by visions of fire. Night after night he dreamed of buildings burning, of forests consumed, of flames chasing him through streets he did not recognize. He feared madness, for the dreams were relentless. But when we explored them, we discovered that the fire was not destruction but transformation. His old life, dominated by rigid obedience to family and tradition, was collapsing within him. The fire was a symbol of renewal, of clearing space for something new. Once he understood, he no longer feared the flames. He walked through them, and in his waking life, he found the courage to leave behind what had imprisoned him. This is the power of the unconscious. When faced with openness, what appears as terror becomes initiation. So it will be for you. The images that terrify you are also those that free you. The emotions that overwhelm you are also those that teach you. The solitude that isolates you is also the womb of your rebirth. The very things that threaten to undo you are those that, if integrated, will make you whole. And yet, wholeness is not comfort. I must stress this. To be whole is not to be free of pain. It is to be in relationship with pain. To be whole is not to be free of shadow. It is to integrate shadow as part of your being. To be whole is not to escape contradiction. It is to embrace contradiction as the texture of existence. For the intuitive introvert, the temptation is to seek purity, to long for a state where everything makes sense, where darkness is eliminated, where truth is clear. This longing, though noble, is dangerous. Life does not resolve itself into clarity. It deepens into mystery. If you demand clarity where there is only mystery, you will become disillusioned. If you demand purity where there is only paradox, you will become bitter. The path I am describing is not safe. It is not meant to be. It is a descent, a confrontation, an initiation. The dark warning is that you cannot remain at the surface. Your psyche will not allow it. You will either go down willingly or be dragged, but you must not go down without preparation. You must cultivate symbols of grounding, rituals that anchor you, relationships that remind you of the tangible practices that restore balance. Without grounding, descent becomes drowning. With grounding, descent becomes transformation. There will be moments when you doubt all of this. You will wake from a dream too heavy to interpret. You will feel a darkness pressing upon you, and you will think, perhaps I am cursed, perhaps I am broken. In those moments, remember that you are not alone. The archetypes that haunt you are universal. The shadows that stalk, you are the same shadows that stalk humanity itself. You are not singled out for torment. You are called into participation with a drama larger than yourself. The question is not why me. The question is, will I answer? Listen to your body as well. The intuitive introvert often neglects the body, living too much in images and thoughts, but the unconscious speaks through the body no less than through dreams. A tightness in the chest, a sudden fatigue, a pain with no clear medical cause. These to our messages. They tell you where the psyche has been ignored, where energy has been blocked. To dismiss them as random is folly. To interpret them literally is also folly. You must learn to read them symbolically. As you read your dreams, the body is not the enemy of the spirit. It is the vessel of the spirit. To care for it is to honor the unconscious itself. Do not seek shortcuts. Do not chase endless teachers who promise instant awakening, endless rituals that promise final answers, endless communities that promise belonging at the cost of your individuality. These are traps for the intuitive introvert. You are tempted by them because they offer to relieve your isolation. But remember, belonging at the cost of self is bondage, not salvation. You will know the true guide not by their charisma, but by their refusal to enslave you. You will know the true path not by its promises of ease, but by its resonance with your deepest intuition. I say all this not to frighten you, but to awaken you. The dark warning is real, but it is not doom. It is invitation. You are standing at the edge of the forest. Behind you lies the world of appearances. Safe, but shallow. Before you lies the forest of the unconscious. Dark, but alive. You cannot remain at the edge forever. You must choose. And if you choose the forest, go with courage, for though the path is treacherous, it leads to a treasure that cannot be found elsewhere, the treasure of your own soul, integrated, whole, luminous in its paradox. As you move deeper into the labyrinth of your inner life, you will find that solitude no longer feels merely like a choice, but rather like a necessity. A demand placed upon you by the psyche itself. Yet solitude has two faces. One face is luminous. It grants clarity, restores the self, and opens a space where you can hear the whispers of the unconscious without distraction. The other face is shadowed. It isolates, alienates, and tempts you into the sterile fantasy of self-sufficiency. To live as an intuitive introvert is to learn to balance these faces, to discern when solitude heals and when it begins to corrode. You may notice that when you spend too much time away from others, the images of the unconscious grow louder, more insistent. At first, this seems like a gift, visions, insights, sudden understandings, but unchecked. It can lead to obsession. You may begin to mistake the voice of the unconscious for absolute truth, forgetting that even the deepest symbols are filtered through your own lens, distorted by your personal history, colored by your wounds. The danger is subtle but profound. You can become a prophet of your own projections. You may see betrayal where none exists, doom where there is only change, superiority, where there is simply difference. This is why dialogue is essential. Not only dialogue with your unconscious, but dialogue with others. Though others cannot see as you do, their groundedness protects you from losing your balance. They anchor you to the practical world, reminding you that life is not only vision but also bread, not only symbol but also skin. Do not despise their simplicity. Do not mock their lack of depth. For while you peer into mysteries, they carry the weight of the everyday, and that weight is sacred. It is they who remind you that fire is not only transformation, it also burns. That water is not only the unconscious, it also drowns. That shadow is not only a teacher, it also wounds the archetype of the shadow, perhaps more than any other, demands the attention of the intuitive introvert. You sense it everywhere, in your own impulses, in the hidden motives of others, in the collective sickness of societies. But sensing the shadow is not the same as integrating it. Many intuitive introverts fall into the trap of identifying the shadow exclusively in the external world. They see corruption in politics, manipulation in religion, deceit in relationships, and indeed, all of this exists. Yet by focusing only outward, they neglect the shadow within. And so the unconscious, unwilling to be ignored, turn cruel, it whispers destructive thoughts. It distort perception. It binds the introvert in webs of fear. Integration requires courage, the courage to admit that what disgusts you in others also lurks in you, that what you most despise externally is mirrored internally. This is not self-condemnation, it is honesty. To accept your own darkness is not to act upon it, but to acknowledge that you are not pure, you are whole. And wholeness includes light and dark, wisdom and foolishness, love and hate, instinct and spirit. The intuitive introvert who embraces only their light becomes brittle, sanctimonious, lost in fantasies of purity. The one who embraces both becomes human, grounded, and paradoxically more divine. I recall a man who considered himself deeply spiritual, devoted to contemplation and inner vision. He was revered by others as insightful, almost saintly, yet his relationships were littered with bitterness, his words often sharp, his anger repressed but seething. When confronted, he denied this shadow fiercely, but the denial only gave it more power. His dreams revealed monsters lurking beneath temples, demons hiding behind altars. Only when he dared to admit that he carried cruelty within him as well as compassion, that his spirituality masked resentment as much as it revealed love, did his visions regain clarity. He learned that his unconscious was not mocking him, but demanding wholeness, and wholeness is always darker and richer than our ideals allow. For you, the intuitive introvert, this confrontation with shadow is even more urgent, for your sensitivity makes you more susceptible to projection. If you deny your own aggression, you will see aggressors everywhere. If you repress your own envy, you will imagine the world plotting against you. If you conceal your own longing, you will accuse others of manipulation. The more you disown, the more you are haunted. The shadow does not vanish because you close your eyes. It grows, waiting for the moment to overwhelm you. Another danger that stalks you is exhaustion. The constant influx of impressions, the ceaseless interpretation of symbols, the unending dialogue with dreams and emotions, all of this drains your energy. You may find yourself fatigued, unable to move, weighed down by what seems invisible to others. This exhaustion is not weakness. It is the cost of carrying more than the conscious mind was designed to bear. You must learn to rest, not only physical rest, but psychic rest. Rituals of grounding, moments of silence without analysis, simple tasks that anchor you to the tangible world. Gardening, cooking, walking, these are not distractions. They are medicine. They remind you that you are embodied, that you belong not only to the inner world but also to the earth. At times, you may feel as though you live in two realities, the collective daylight of society and the nocturnal depths of your own soul. This tension is the crucible of your existence. It is what tears you apart, but it is also what forges you. The challenge is not to resolve the tension, but to live within it, to hold the paradox without collapsing into one side. You are not meant to be only inward or only outward, only intuitive or only practical, only shadowed or only luminous. You are meant to be both a bridge, a threshold, and thresholds are never comfortable places to stand. My warning, then, is not meant to discourage you, but to prepare you. Do not expect comfort on this path. Do not expect recognition. The intuitive introvert is often overlooked, underestimated, even ridiculed. But this obscurity protects you. It frees you from the gaze of the collective, allowing you to pursue your work unseen. It allows you to grow roots deep in the soil of the unconscious. Roots that will nourish not only you but also those who come after you. Remember, the seed must be buried before it can sprout. So too must you be hidden before your gift can blossom. When despair rises, and it will remember that despair is also a form of initiation. It strips away illusions. It burns away fantasies. It leaves you naked before the truth. Do not flee from despair. Sit with it. Listen to what it says. Beneath its heaviness, you will hear the voice of your soul calling you deeper still. For despair is not the end of the journey. It is the threshold to transformation. You may ask, why does the path of the intuitive introvert carry so much danger? Why must the gift come wrapped in shadow? The answer is that depth is always dangerous. To see beyond the surface is to risk losing your place among those who live upon it. To hear the voice of the unconscious is to risk mistaking it for madness. To touch the eternal is to risk losing the temporal, and yet, without this danger, there is no true growth, no true awakening. The flower that never breaks the soil never blooms. The self that never confronts the shadow never becomes whole. The collective will tempt you to surrender your vision, to trade your inner truth for external belonging. This is perhaps the darkest warning of all the temptation of conformity. You will be told implicitly and explicitly that your way of seeing is too strange, too heavy, too unnecessary. You will be pressured to lighten up, to fit in, to silence the voice within. And if you yield, if you betray your intuition for the sake of comfort, you will suffer a deeper loneliness than any solitude could bring. For the greatest loneliness is not to be alone, it is to be estranged from yourself. You must choose fidelity to your soul over conformity to the world. This does not mean arrogance. It does not mean despising others. It means quiet faithfulness to the truth that arises within you, even when no one else understands it. The prophets of old walked this path. The mystics bore this burden. The poets carried this fire. And so, must you, in your own way, not because it is glamorous, not because it brings recognition, but because it is the only way to remain whole. And so I say to you again, do not betray yourself. Do not flee your visions. Do not silence your intuition. For though they burden you, they also guide you. Though they isolate you, they also connect you to the depths of the human spirit. Though they frighten you, they also initiate you into mysteries that the surface will never know. You are not cursed, you are called. The question is whether you will answer. To walk the path of the intuitive introvert is to live with a double vision. One eye sees the ordinary world with its routines, assiduity, its endless chatter of society. The other eye sees the inner world, a landscape of symbols, shadows, and archetypes where every event carries a hidden meaning. Every encounter ripples with unconscious resonance. Most people never glimpse this second world. They live only in daylight, in the measurable, in the tangible, but you cannot escape it. For the second world bleeds into the first. It colors your perception, shapes your emotions, interrupts your sleep, demands your attention. It will not be silenced because it is as real, perhaps even more real than the world of surfaces. And this is why I warn you, the danger of your gift is not only in misunderstanding but in imbalance. To be consumed by the inner world is to become detached from life. To be consumed by the outer world is to suffocate the soul. You must walk between them, holding the tension of opposites. This is not an easy path. It will stretch you, wound you, test you, but it is the only path that leads to individuation, to the realization of your true self, the self, that hidden center of your being, does not ask for comfort. It asks for wholeness. It asks for you to integrate shadow and light, instinct and spirit, conscious and unconscious. It will lead you into conflict, into paradox, into experiences that shatter the neat categories of your mind. But it does so not to destroy you, but to free you. The intuitive introvert is especially summoned to this journey because you already live close to the threshold. You already hear the whisper of the self in dreams, in symbols, in strange synchronicities that others dismiss. You already feel the pull of something larger than the ego, but beware, the ego resists this call. It clings to safety, to control, to certainty. It fears dissolution, and rightly so, for individuation is a death of sorts, a death of illusions, of false identities, of narrow comforts. The intuitive introvert must learn to let go, to trust that the descent into the unconscious is not annihilation but transformation. Like Inanna descending into the underworld, like Christ entering the tomb, like Psyche wandering through impossible tasks, you too must descend, and you will be stripped of masks, of securities, of familiar certainties. But in that stripping, you will encounter the truth of who you are. I have seen this again and again. Those who resist the descent, who cling to surface life, grow brittle, anxious, restless. They sense something missing but cannot name it. They become addicted to distractions, to noise, to substances that numb the voice of the unconscious. But those who accept the descent, who endure the darkness, emerge changed. They do not emerge perfect, they emerge whole, they emerge with a new relationship to themselves, to others, to the world. They become carriers of light, not because they are without shadow, but because they no longer fear the shadow. The darkness you carry, the visions that unsettle you, the emotions that overwhelm you, all of these are invitations. They are not punishments, they are thresholds. And thresholds are always frightening, for they separate the known from the unknown. But if you cross them, you discover a depth of life that cannot be reached otherwise. The danger lies not in the threshold itself, but in refusing to cross, in clinging to safety, until safety becomes a prison. You may ask, what is the purpose of this journey? Why endure the solitude, the visions, the burden of intuition? The purpose is not fame, not power, not even happiness in the ordinary sense. The purpose is to become a vessel through which the unconscious can flow into the world, to bring forth what lies hidden, to embody what lies forgotten. You are called to be a bridge, not for your own sake alone, but for the sake of humanity, for the collective. Though it resists, the unconscious also desperately needs it. Without the insights of the few who dare to descend, the collective grows sick, hollow, destructive. It needs seers, poets, mystics, dreamers. It needs you, but do not imagine this will make you comfortable. The world rarely welcomes those who reveal its shadows. It prefers denial, it prefers distraction, and so you may be ridiculed, misunderstood, even rejected. Accept this, it is part of the path. Do not measure your worth by the applause of the many. Measure it by your fidelity to the truth within you. For truth is not validated by numbers, it is validated by resonance, by the quiet knowing that you are aligned with the self, that you are living your calling, even when no one sees. Let me remind you of a dream I once encountered in a patient. He dreamed of standing before a vast gate, guarded by a figure cloaked in black. He felt terror, certain that if he passed, he would die. Yet behind the gate, he heard the sound of water flowing, and he knew it was the source of life itself. For many months he refused to face the figure, choosing instead to remain in the barren land outside the gate. But his dreams grew more insistent, and at last he found the courage to approach. The cloaked figure revealed itself to be his own shadow, the sum of everything he had denied in himself. When he embraced it, the gate opened, and he entered a land rich with rivers and trees. This dream is not his alone. It is yours as well. The gate you fear is the threshold of your own unconscious. The guardian is your shadow, and the life you long for lies beyond. So I speak to you now, as if face to face, in the intimacy of a sacred seminar, where words are more than sound, where they become mirrors of the soul. Do not run from your gift. Do not numb your intuition. Do not silence your dreams, for they are not accidents. They are the language of the self, calling you home. The path will be lonely. Yes, it will be frightening. Yes, but it will also be the most authentic path you can walk. You are not meant to be like everyone else. You are not meant to drown in the noise of the collective. You are meant to walk differently, to see differently, to carry light into places others fear, and though this may separate you from many, it will unite you with the deepest reality of all, the reality of your own soul, the reality of the self, the reality that transcends time and culture and speaks in symbols older than language itself. And so I leave you with this heed, the warning, but do not fear it. The darkness is not here to destroy you, but to refine you. The solitude is not here to punish you, but to prepare you. The visions are not here to torment you, but to guide you. What others call madness may be your initiation. What others call weakness may be your strength. What others call curse may be your calling. Trust the deeper rhythm. Trust the unconscious. Trust that your path, though narrow, is necessary. And when you doubt, when the night is too heavy and the voice is too loud, remember that you are not alone. Many before you have walked this way, many walk it still, though unseen. And beyond even them, the archetypes walk with you, ancient companions who know the terrain better than you ever could. They will not abandon you. They will test you. Yes. They will frighten you. Yes. But they will also transform you if you let them. So walk on, intuitive introvert. Walk on with courage, with humility, with faithfulness. Do not betray your soul. Do not flee your shadow. Do not silence your intuition. For you are one of the few who can carry this light, and the world, though it may not know it, waits for you